For a DSP student who's just coming in, the first most important thing is to file the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. That's filed online at www.fafsa.ed.gov. If you're coming in the spring, if it's after January 1st of the calendar year, you're going to want to file two FAFSAs, one for the current academic year and one for the next academic year. Try to do the current one first and the next academic year one second. However, don't wait until after May 1st to do that, because May 1st is the deadline for the Pennsylvania State Grant, and you want to make sure that if you're going to qualify for it, that you get your application in on time. When we determine your eligibility for financial aid, we look at costs that are beyond the cost of tuition. We look at, of course, the tuition. We also look at the fact that you have living expenses like room and board and travel expenses and personal expenses while you're attending school. So even though it only costs you a little bit per class, it costs you quite a bit per year in order to live and go to school while you're doing that. The best thing for a DSP student, if you can handle it in your personal schedule, is to keep enrolling consecutively in classes. We look at, for financial aid purposes, the year in terms of 2 different semesters, even though it's not a semester program. We have what we consider the fall semester, which will be the fall 10, 20, and 30 sections of the fall semester. That runs from September through late January, early February. Then the spring semester would be the spring 10 and 20 sections and the summer 10 and 20, which run from February through August. That way you will be enrolled for fall and you'll be enrolled for spring. If you only take one course in any of those terms, you'd be considered less than half-time. You'd only be eligible for, if you are eligible, you'd only qualify for a federal Pell Grant. If you enroll for 2 courses in a term, you would be considered half-time. At half-time, you'd be able to borrow from the federal loan programs, the subsidized or unsubsidized Stafford loan program. If you only take, back up a little bit, if you're only in one course, that federal Pell Grant, even if you get the maximum amount, it's going to be less than the amount of tuition. So if you're counting on that to cover your tuition, that wouldn't do it for you. If you take 3 courses in a term, they would need to be consecutive in order to qualify for the Pennsylvania State Grant if you qualify for the grant. Even if you take 3 courses in one of those terms, it's considered less than full-time for state grant purposes, and you would receive a part-time award. This causes confusion a lot of times because Pennsylvania doesn't know right off the bat that you're applying to our accelerated program. They notify you of the full-time student eligibility. We notify them that you are in this program and your award is reduced, and so we're alerting you ahead of time that that could happen to you. When you're billed for your courses, you're billed 1 course at a time. The student accounts office will bill you shortly before the course starts. We apply the financial aid to your student account every 2 courses. So sometimes there's a little bit of a lag between when you're billed and when the aid is applied, and the other way around, that you might have a credit balance, but it's going to be on your account to cover your next class that you're enrolled in. And we can work with you to help you figure out how much of your bill will be covered by your aid, and the other way around if you're going to owe us something as a balance. A DSP student can be a full-time student for state grant purposes if they enroll for 4 courses in 3 consecutive terms within one of those semesters. For federal aid purposes, a DSP student is full-time when they're taking 3 courses, because they're the equivalent of a 4-credit course, and full-time is considered 12 credits. If a student misses the May 1st deadline for filing the FAFSA, then for the academic year that FAFSA was filed, that student would not qualify for a Pennsylvania State Grant. It doesn't mean it's too late to apply, and we certainly encourage you to apply, because you could qualify for the federal loans or federal grants as well. And if you have questions about what I covered, or maybe what I didn't cover, please call the financial aid office at 610-921-7515. Our office hours are between 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock, and we have an email address, finaid@alb.edu. Thank you.